about infections, doctor visits, hospitalizations, and I brought one little thing to show you. This was Lee's prescription list. It was huge. And part of it is vitamins and aspirins and niacin and iron and things besides pills, but probably down here is pills. We have this in the computer every time you have an appointment with anybody. If it's for a flu shot, if it's for lab, or it's for a doctor, or he's going into the hospital for some reason. We printed that off. I printed it off for him. He looked at it, made these corrections for things that had changed. We reprinted it. We took it. The doctor has it in their file. I think I've got a lot of little things like that that might be helpful to you or to the spouses or to the patients too. But I don't mean to push myself on you for things that you really don't want to do. So equipment for home care and travel, I think, is an important subject. Take care of yourself if you're the spouse. You need to have a little time for yourself. You need to get your hair done. You need to go work out. Lee loved to go golf. He got away a little bit because his friends took him. Another of my subjects is let people help you. And his friends would pick him up and take him to the golf course even when he wasn't playing anymore. Gave me a little bit of time to myself. And then my very last one, why me? Lee, this is a subject I think everybody would say you shouldn't put in there, and I wanted to tell you why I think it's important. We had a talk maybe a couple of months before he passed away about, if you're going to say why me, you better say it about the good things that happened to you in your life too. And we had a lot of good things. We had a lot more good things than bad. So I never say why me. Why did he have to go through this? Why did I have to go through it with him? But I would like to know the why me from a medical standpoint. I'd like to know why he had pulmonary fibrosis. I'd like to know if it's genetic. I'd like to know if it's because he smoked when he was young, even though he quit 30 years before he was diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis. So I think why me is another topic, because that's a way to tell people to get involved in the studies, get involved in the genetic studies, help find out what's wrong, or what's causing this disease that we don't know that much about. So that's what I would like to do. I would be really interested in your feedback or whether you think it's a good idea. Does it need to be split between the patients and the caregivers? Does it need to be done at all? So anything that you'd like to say verbally, or if you just want to fill out the sheet, you can or cannot. I don't care if you put your name on it or not. I might email you if you give me an email address. Oh, okay, so I'm not going to stop quite yet. One more tiny little thing. I didn't realize the need for education and public awareness until I was at the meeting the pulmonary fibrosis people were at. So I was at the meeting that Steve was talking about, and Stephanie and Anita. I know there were a couple more, and can't remember for sure who, but I was at that meeting. What we kind of came up with is we do what we can on a small basis, it'll grow. And I really think that that's true. We do what we can for ourselves for public awareness. So I will have a website online, hopefully by Labor Day, that is for other purposes, but about every third day I hope to have an article about pulmonary fibrosis and a link to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation. And as we make money from this website, which I think we will, I'm going to put a percentage of it to pulmonary fibrosis research, and we're going to start off by putting it to Mary Beth's genetic study. When she's finished with that genetic study, we may move it to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation. But I just wanted, that is another focus that I wasn't aware of until the last couple of months, that we need to think of ways to make it work, and these meetings are a good way to do that too. Okay, anybody want to yell at me or scream at me or anything?
Thank you. I love it. This is great.
Yes, thank you. I think that's all I have.
I think the other part on the agenda was share stories. And I'd like to just briefly go around the room. And if you have something significant, just as Myrna did, about your experiences either on diagnosis or our frustrations at trying to find out how hard it is to get people aware of this disease, and even to get any just data. I'll share one story with you. One of the things when we put our little study group together to try and find out what the numbers were about how many people had IPF, I thought, this will be easy. I'll just go to the home care suppliers, the people who supply oxygen. They have to have a prescription from a doctor before they can give you oxygen. So that's going to be in the files of the home health care organization, in our case IHC. That's going to be there. They'll be able to separate out COPD from IPF from whatever. This isn't going to be hard. So I was also trying to rig up an oxygen system where I could swim. That's my main exercise. And I discovered there isn't anything out there. What could be easier? The best exercise in the world is swimming. It takes all the stress off your body. It works you out. It forces you to breathe deeply. And that's always been my exercise, but I need oxygen for it now. There's nothing out there. So the man at IHC was helping me jury rig this little system that I could stick in the water and swim with. And I said to him, you know, we're trying to find out how many people in the state have IPF, and you're the biggest suppliers of oxygen in the state. Could we, without doing names or violating any confidentiality, find out how many people you are supplying who have IPF? And he just looked at me and he said, I said, you have to have prescriptions so you've got it on file. Most of the doctors, I can't remember the Latin word for it, but it's a Latin word that means breathlessness. That's all I write down on a prescription. What?
Dyspepsia or something
yeah,
like that.
dyspepsia or something like that. It just means breathlessness. So that's all they have in their books, and that isn't even in their computer data that's supplying it. It's filed away someplace else in a separate thing. So they have no idea. That can be anybody that's short of breath. It could be heart problems, it could be COPD, it could be IPF, it could be 20 other things, asthma, whatever. So there is nothing out there that requires doctors to actually put a diagnosis in. And so my brilliant idea of making this easy went right out the door. So these are the kinds of things Stephen talked about, all these wonderful things that he's done, and I just admire that so much. These are things that we need to start asking for. I don't want you putting this on my prescriptions. You put IPF. You need to be able to say succinctly what people have, so we can get at some of this data. It should be easy, and it isn't. So anything that you can do at your own level. I talked to my own doctor. You know, if we put together a brochure, could I bring it into the office and put it there? He said, sure. He'd never heard it. My family physician had never heard of this disease until I went in there. And he started taking notes. And I am now his official, information officer on IVF. He didn't know what it was. Family practitioners get 9 months of, what did he say he got? 9 hours on lungs in medical school. That's how much training you got. So, ask your doctors these questions. Find out what they know and help us, give us some ideas. You can really keep pursuing this idea of coming up with awareness. I mean, that's just crucial. We're going to keep pursuing these ideas and help us with any information that you get or any ideas you may have on how to create awareness. I like the idea of the marathon. I could just see all these oxygen tanks rumbling down the center of St. George. But, what a